Banky special.
Yeah.
Pure deliciousness.
Pure deliciousness, man. My name is Banky, man. Everybody calls me Banky. That's the name that I got from my grandmother when I was young. I'm coming out here after 30 years. Yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know. And I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts. Shout out to everybody out there on Team Banky Pound, man. I appreciate the love. Appreciate the support. Boom, 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 boom. We out here. We out here. 33 years of prison stories, man. We out here. Appreciate all the love, man. Everybody who went over there and subscribed to Banky Pound Prison Fitness. I appreciate you. We dropping videos every day. Y'all need to get over there and check me out. I'm getting ready to start going live videos, live personalized workouts as soon as we get 1,000 subs. So let's get it. Bang, bang. Everybody who went over there to Living Life After Life podcast, same thing, 1,000 subs. We get ready to drop these bomb interviews. You know, as I told y'all before, we got Pusha T already on interview. Salute to him. We ready, man. I'm just waiting on y'all, man. Come over there, support. And soon as y'all start supporting Pure Deliciousness, I still got some whip up for you. So holler at your boy, man. We out here. We gonna try to get it moving in 2023. I'm trying to be multitasking, man. Working for y'all. We trying to get this message out there. All positive energy, man. That's what I stand for, and that's what we trying to do. So salute to everybody who rocking with me, man. I appreciate you. Salute. All right, let's get it rocking. Hold up. Yeah, we back up in here, man. But anyway, today's video to me is kind of interesting video, man. This is a informative video, and I think it's an important video, man. I want to talk about, you know, when they implemented the grooming policy in the system. Yeah, they implemented the grooming policy in the system, which was crazy. I'm trying to remember the year. I can't remember the year. I don't know. It was around 99, 2000, somewhere around there. I can't be sure about the year. But I do know when they implemented it, man, it affected the system in a crazy way, because what they were saying was you had to be clean shaven, which didn't affect me because, you know, I'm, you know, smooth within a ray of light. Ooh. Now let me cut that out. But, you know, they implemented that you had to be smooth shaven. You had to have your hair cut down to like 2.5 inches, 2 inches, something like that. I'm forgetting all those details. But, you know, then you had to have your nails clipped and all. It was crazy. But the main thing with that was the shaving and the hair. Because you had a lot of dudes, man, that had dreads, and they had been growing dreads for decades and years and things like that. You had dudes that had these big old, you know, Teddy Pendergrass beards, and, you know, that was their trademark. You had some dudes that had the beard because they had bad skin. You had, you know, a lot of different reasons, but now they was being forced to get rid of that. You know what I'm saying? And they was not feeling that whatsoever. It was in the air, man, that it, you know, it may be a riot, that, you know, the dudes may just buck and they may just go off, and it's going to be some stuff behind it, and it was crazy, but it didn't really affect me that way because, like I said, I never really, you know, rocked the beard and things like that. You could have a mustache, but you had to have it, you know, trimmed to a certain way. I did wear a mustache for a long time, but it just took too much to keep on and, you know, butchering up your skin every day. So it affected a lot of dudes, and it affected me in a way because I was the barber. You know what I'm saying? I'm the barber. I'm the one that's responsible for grooming you. So it was really, really touch and go when it first started, man. And dudes was bucking. Dudes was just emphatic that they was not going to cut their hair. They was not going to adhere to the policy. And the administration said that they was prepared for that, because it was like if you didn't cut it or you didn't shave, then you had a certain amount of time and you was going to lock up. You know, they was putting you in segregation. You had to either, first time I think they gave you a charge. You know what I'm saying? And after you got the charge, and a fine. Second time they gave you a charge of fine and they lock you up. And you was not going to be able to come back to population unless you was, in compliance, according to them. So, all the dudes buck. All the dudes did this. We refused to shave and refused to cut their hair. They buck, man. You had dudes that had dreads, man. I've been around dudes and I was locked up that had dreads all the way down. I'm talking about, I was around one dude on Nottoway. His dreads dragged the floor. You understand? His dreads dragged the floor. He used to fold them up at the bottom and put a joint on them at the bottom when he was walking to the chow hall or something like that, because it'll be dragging on the ground. That's how long his dreads was. I knew a lot of dudes, a lot of cats, a lot of dudes that just rock dreads the whole time I ever knew him. Shorty Pimp had dreads. Shout out to Shorty Pimp too. He going through some tough times right now, man, and my prayers go out to Shorty Pimp and his family, man. Shorty Pimp, penitentiary legend. Gangsta Slim had dreads the whole time I knew him. Who else did I spoke about their videos about they had dreads? I know for sure Gangsta Slim had. Gangsta Slim had long, big, crazy dreads too, man. The whole time I know him. Shorty Sykes had long dreads all the way down to his back. A few dudes, man. A few dudes that I spoke of in videos and previous videos were dreadheads, man. So, those dudes have been growing them dreads for years, man, years and years. And then for the people that come around now and tell them they got to cut them, it was a hard thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Just because, but this is a part of the penitentiary, man. They have total control over your life, and they can implement a new rule tomorrow, and you have to adhere to it, or you either be punished. You know what I'm saying? Things that you used to, things that you have habits in, you can't get attached to nothing in prison. Because anything that you get attached to, you have to be aware that they can take it away from you at any point, at any given time. Just because they want to, just because they can. You see what I'm saying? TVs, radios, clothes, recreation, privilege. They can take everything, man. You own nothing. Nothing in prison. Anything that they want to take or anything that they feel like they want to deem contraband or illegal or wrong, they can do it. You know what I'm saying? This is one of the ills of being locked up, And when they came with this, man, like I say, this was a big deal, man, because like I say, you got a lot of dudes that had a lot of facial hair, man, and they done had it since they was teenagers. They done had it all their life. They don't even like their face without it. So to tell them now that they got to cut it off, them dudes refused to do that. And when they bucked, the administration followed through with it. They started locking dudes up. You know what I'm saying? They started locking them up. Boom, you cutting your hair, you had about the day to cut your hair. You ain't cut your hair, boom, boom, turn around, cuff up. We locking you up. So they was locking dudes up left and right. Then you had some dudes that started to protest, legally. They started filling out, habeas corpus and filing lawsuits and saying that it was unconstitutional, that it was against their religion. Some dudes grew their hair for their religious beliefs, so it was a lot of things going on with this situation. And it put me in an awkward position because I was a barber. And then you might get an officer, a lieutenant, a captain, or whatever may walk through there today and do the grooming inspection. Yeah, they was doing grooming inspections. For a while, they was doing that on a regular basis. They would come by every morning and pop all the doors and have everybody line up in front of their cell, and they would walk by and look at your fingernails, look at your hair, look at your face, and see if you was in compliance. If you weren't in compliance, they would tell you to go over there and line up and either get your hair cut, get in compliance, get your nails cut, whatever the problem was, and or go to jail. So being that I was the barber, they would tell me after they inspected me, go get the barber equipment, be down there, be ready to cut hair, and so on and so forth. So you had some dudes that was bucking, but then they really won't bucking. So then they'll put them in line and they'll get in line, and then they'll come get in the chair, and then you have the police standing over top of you, and they saying, all right, you got to shave his beard. Then I'm responsible for shaving this dude's beard off, and then he's telling me, man, don't cut it all off, just put it as a shadow. But then you got the police saying you got to cut it all off. So I'm like, you know, in the middle, y'all put me in the middle of some foolishness that I don't want to have nothing to do with. So he said it's his face. You know what I'm saying? It's his face. He's saying just put it as a shadow. And then you got the police saying you got to cut it all off. So I'm stuck. So I'm saying I'm not going to cut the man all the hair off his face if he say don't cut all the hair off his face. You know what I'm saying? So then they threatened to tell me either I cut it all off or I'm going to get a charge for disobeying a direct order. I'm like, man, I'm not cutting nobody hair off their head to a certain length or cutting all the hair off of their face if they are not telling me to do it. You know, I'm just not gonna do that. You see what I'm saying? So it was a thing, man. There's one sergeant or a lieutenant, he was trying to fire me. He told me, well, you fired. I was like, okay, well, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna make me cut nobody, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna do that. So then you had the captain saying, well, no, I ain't fired, but then he turned around and put the pressure where it should be applied to the dude. Either you tell him to cut it all off or you will get the case. But this, you know, Uncle Sam, bootlicker, you know what I'm saying, Jeffro Bodine gonna try to tell me I'm gonna do it anyway against, but you gonna make me have a beef with this dude? You gonna make, man, get out of here, man. You know what I'm saying? This is the craziness that goes on in prison. You know, you gonna try to make me do, man, you ain't making me do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Especially not to another human being. You do it. Here go the Clippers. You cut it off. You know what I'm saying? So it was crazy, man. It was touch and go. And then the dudes was trying to get away, man. Just cut it real close, but don't cut it off because they ain't want to go to jail, but they ain't want to cut their facial hair off neither. Now, the dudes that had all the long dreads, the big bongos, and the nice, you know, braided looking dreads, man, them dudes won't cutting their hair off, man. Them dudes that had their hair too long. Too long, man. They just cut it off now all of a sudden because y'all changed the rules. Mostly all of them dudes went to jail. Very rarely did I had to cut dreads off a dude's head. And every time I cut dreads off a dude's head, that didn't buck, man, they immediately regretted it after they did it. You know what I'm saying? They felt like they should have went to jail. They should have just bucked on the whole situation because, you know, it was unfair. But you had very few that cut their hair off, man. Then you had dudes that had braids because you got to remember at this time, before they came up with the rule, you can have your hair as long as you want. So a lot of dudes didn't necessarily just have dreads, they had braids. Some dudes had long braids, man. It's all the way down their back just as long as dreads. You know, they cornrow their braids or they put them in just, you know, straight out joints, you know. So a lot of dudes had it, man. A lot of dudes had it, and a lot of dudes refused to cut them off because of the simple fact that, you know, it was a part of their identity. It was a part of who they was, and they ain't want to cut it. You know, so I know dudes that buck too as well that had braids, not just dreads. And you had very few white guys, you know what I'm saying, they had the big old, you know, what do you call it, mountain men beards, you know what I'm saying, and the long hair and everything, and they ain't want to cut theirs. You know, but then most of them did. You know what I'm saying? They submitted to it because, like I say, segregation is a different animal, man. You got to be cut. You got to be cut from that cloth to do that, man. It takes a lot of mental fortitude, a lot of physical. I mean, it's just draining because you are actually in a cell by yourself, nothing but a bed and a, you know, commode and a sink, and that's it. And the 3 meals of doo-doo that they're going to bring you per day, and shower every 3 days for 15 minutes. And that is repetitive. It's over and over and over, week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out. And if you're not fortunate, decades, you know, depending on how much time you got. But that is a hard thing to do, man, to be removed from human, you know, contact, to be removed from, you know, being able to receive visits, to get physical visits when you are in their presence. You got to talk through a glass, you know, a plexiglass like y'all might see in a movie. You can only use the phone once a month. It's rough, you know what I'm saying? And it's something different being stuck in isolation like that in a cell with nothing but your thoughts. Nothing but your thoughts, man. And sometimes your thoughts are demons. You know, sometimes your thoughts are mean and vicious, man, and depressing and upsetting. And reality sets in, man, how far down the life position that you have felt, man. You know, you like at the bottom of the barrel. You know what I'm saying? The value of your life has been diminished so much that you look around you and all you see is walls and brick and concrete and steel and bars, and you know, yeah, it's a humbling, crumbling experience, man, to be back there like that for a certain amount of time. But that's hard for a lot of dudes to do. So instead of a dude dealing with that, he may, you know, choose to adhere to whatever it is that the administration is pushing at the time, because they always pushing something. You can lay flat and believe that they always pushing something. So yeah, man, a lot of dudes bucked and a lot of dudes didn't. And then a lot of dudes was feeling like this is just gonna be a process. We gonna protest this. We gonna fight this in the court, and it ain't gonna take that long. And we gonna win this because this is unconstitutional. They can't do this. Some dudes got hair for their religious beliefs. Some dudes is against their religion to cut their hair, to cut their facial hair, to do all of these things and these issues, which were legitimate issues that they was bringing up. But the administration was standing, you know, 10 toes down on what they said. You gonna cut it, or you going to say it. You see what I'm saying? And yeah, it was crazy. And a lot of dudes protested, and a lot of dudes bucked, and a lot of dudes went to say. And when they got to say, it started to accumulate. There was so many of them bucking all over the system that they had to take seg now, which is segregation, and they had to clear out a whole nother side of the institution and take all of these dudes that was going back here for refusing the grooming policy and put them over here because they had no other room to put people that was out on the yard that was getting in trouble. They had to go to SAG for fighting, for Bethlehem play, for, you know, threatening, all the regular things that you go to SAG for. There was no room for you because it was almost filled up to capacity with dudes that refused to cut their hair or their face. So they had to create a whole nother, you know, population just for the people that was bucking on this situation. Yeah, but little did anyone know this thing would end up dragging on for over a decade. Yeah, over a decade, if I'm not mistaken, man. 14, anywhere from, I'm not really sure, but I know it was anywhere from like 13 to 16 years, man, before this thing would ever be resolved. So when I tell y'all 13 to 16 years, that means you actually had some people that bucked and went to SAG and actually was in SAG for 13 to 16 years because they refused to cut their hair, because they refused to cut their face, you know. And that right there, my people, is you know, the epitome of, you know, 10 toes down, man, and refusing to compromise. You know, just because your body is locked up, that don't mean your mind is locked up, because it's certain things that you have to take a stand on. And this particular situation, I guess these people felt like it was enough was enough, and they was gonna take a stand on this. And mind you, they had already come with, you know, taking our clothes away from us. You know, we used to wear street clothes. You could order from certain vendors, and tennis shoes from certain vendors, jackets and hats, and, you know, fitted caps and hoodies, and they took all of that. You know what I'm saying? After they took that and they realized that they could take stuff, they started taking everything. They started taking the TV. We went from a 13-inch TV to a 5-inch TV just to consume space, that they could have more space and property to store stuff. So it was more for them than for us, but we was always the ones getting punished for whatever made them things more convenient for them was what was going to make things inconvenient for us, you know. So they went from the clothes to the TV, and then they took the movement. when it came with the control movement, and then dudes riot about that. You know, they tore the penitentiary up for that. I did videos on that. You know, and then I guess they feel like after they, you know, dealt with us the way they dealt with us after the riot, which was brutal and cruel and unforgiving, did they feel like they had broke, so they waited a while, then they come with all of this stuff, the grooming policies and all. It was just crazy, man. It was just like take, and we already without our freedom, and they take, man. And dudes just, they couldn't take it no more, so they bucked, and they bucked the system with that, man, and they stayed back there. I know at least of 2 or 3 dudes I know that did the entire thing, you know, on set, you know, the entire joint. One dude named Fire, shout out to Fire, and I heard he's out here somewhere too, so you know, salute to him, man. I'm quite sure he's doing well because he was kind of sharp. But yeah, a lot of dudes, man, stayed back there and they bucked the whole time, and they went through whatever they had to go through. Now, this also created another dynamic, which was that, you know, after Seg had got so full with these dudes that was refusing to shave, cut their hair, whatever, and you had dudes back there with braids too. They was just like, I ain't cutting my hair, period. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't necessarily have to be dreads or long hair. It was whatever. Your hair had to be a certain length. Your face had to be clean shaven. If you refuse to do any of that, you qualify for what they ended up calling the dread head part, right? So now they created a whole nother side of the population, which where these dudes were on population but not on population. They had their own building where they did not mix with nobody else from population. Only people was over there was the people that refused to cut their hair. They had a limited amount of movement, not as much as us, a limited amount. Everything that we had, they had it in modification, right? But they was only amongst themselves because they had a class action lawsuit against the state, and they was just waiting for the lawsuit to be finalized to see whether it was going to be yay or nay. So now you got all of these people over here in this one particular population, which was a secure population where you didn't have all the foolishness that you had in regular population, all the violence, all the flammery, the skullduggery, the larceny, the tomfoolery. You didn't have all of that over here because all of these dudes over here were protesting. All of these dudes over here was supposed to be dudes that was on a mission, that was on a protest, that was fighting for their rights to you know, to control their own body. You know what I'm saying? And what happens to it. So now, this is where the tomfoolery and the flammery comes in, because it's always a part of penitentiary. So now you got these dudes that's over here in population that's getting pressed. Dudes is scared of getting taken advantage of. Dudes is scared of getting extorted. Dudes that's scared of getting, you know, molested or whatever the case may be. They are afraid of population, but they find themselves in prison, and this is where you have to be, and or segregation. So now when you create this other small population of dudes that's refusing to cut their hair and shave their beards, you give them an escape. So now if I'm scared out here and I'm being pressed and I'm being pressured and I'm being extorted, what do? Start letting my facial hair grow. Start letting my hair grow. So when I'm noticing that people say, hey, you need to shave. Hey, you need to cut your hair. Man, I ain't cutting my hair no more. Man, I ain't shaving no more. It's tearing my face up. Oh, no, you gonna shave. No, I ain't. Well, you gotta be shaving by tomorrow. If I come through here tomorrow working, you ain't shaving, man, you going to lock up. All right, well, it is what it is. All right, it is what it is. And that's what that was their great escape. You know, they just didn't shave. They just started letting their hair grow. They started braiding their hair. They started doing all of that. Knowing that they under pressure out here on the yard, now you go to lock up and it don't look like I checked in. It don't look like I'm running for nothing. It look like I'm protesting too, because I want to, now you get moved over there. You get a charge and all of that you got to go through and all this, but they ain't worrying about that because they're escaping this danger. You know, you got lions over here. You got tigers over here. You got bears over here. You got killers over here. And people don't want to deal with that. So they get moved over here now. Now they're in a small, controlled environment and population where there's only, you know, a couple of hundred people versus thousands. You know, it's only people over here on a mission versus people over here on foolishness. You know what I'm saying? So they feel more safe over there. So you had a lot of dudes doing that too, but the administration couldn't find a balance with that. They didn't know what to do with it. You can't say, okay, well, we ain't gonna put you over here because you growing your hair because we know you trying to run for population. How can you prove it? You know what I'm saying? How can you prove it? I got hair on my face. I ain't cutting it. You can't put me in segregation because you got dudes over here that got hair on their face and this is where they are, so this is where I need to be. Can't just keep me in segregation because you think I'm running or hiding. So they had to put them over there. So now that population got bigger and bigger. You know, you had the white dudes, they had the long hair and the big old beards. Now they scared out there, they scared to death. You understand? Dudes is down on them for whatever reason. Just start letting your hair grow on your face. Start letting your hair grow. You know, your hair couldn't be beyond your ears, all of this stuff, man. So they just started letting the hair grow. So next thing you know, when you look over there in that population, which was fenced off from the rest, but you might see it as you go in different places, and you see all these dudes out there with these long dreads and these braids and these big old, you know, Rick Ross beards and all of this stuff, and then you start seeing more and more white dudes mixed in with them, because the white dudes figured out that that's what's the escape. That's where I go to get away. Ain't nobody over here doing nothing to me. They fighting a fight over here. You ain't got all these dudes over here. You had a few of them over there, though. You had a few predators over there. But it won't nowhere near like it was in population. And this environment over here, it can easily be detected and seen. If they over there with that foolishness, they're going to be removed from that and go straight to segregation. See what I'm saying? So it was a crazy, crazy time, man, and a crazy dynamic. And like I say, it lasted for over a decade, man. So just imagine not just being locked up without your freedom, but just imagine being locked up for over a decade, man, in a little environment, a small cell, just because people want to tell you to do with your own body, man. They want to make your face clean. They want to make your hair a certain way. And you being locked up, man, and for whatever crime it is that you was convicted of, and that has nothing to do with the way you look. And then you had a lot of dudes that had a lot of conspiracy theories like, oh man, that's just some racial profiling there because you keep shaving and shaving and shaving your face. You know what I'm saying? Then they wanted you to be responsible for the expenses as well. They wanted you to buy your own razors, and so they giving you a whole nother expense and everything, all because they changed their mind and told you that the policy had changed. But with the dude saying that it was racial profiling, because anybody who shave a lot, especially a black man, if you keep shaving, you're gonna damage your skin. You're gonna damage your skin, so you will have all these black guys with all these razor bumps and dark skins and 5 o'clock shadows and stuff and tattoos because they've been in prison, so you could easily racial profile. That was some of the dude's theories in there. Whether it's true or not, who knows? But, But I always had said to myself, man, that I was glad that I did not wear full facial hair, because it's almost certain that I would have bucked as well. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do something to myself physically that I don't agree with just because y'all say do it. I'm not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? It just don't make sense to me. So I could understand them dudes that bucked, and I supported those dudes who bucked because they were standing on what they believe in, and you can never, discredit someone for standing on what they believe in. That's what they believed in, and that's what they should have did. And it's going to be consequences to everything you do. You know what I'm saying? No matter what it is, it's going to be consequences to it. That was the consequence, that you have to be in segregation. So, you had a lot of dudes now. I may have brushed over that, but it wasn't like immediately that they created that other population. This was years. So you had dudes that was actually in segregation for years. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what institution you was on. And all institutions didn't have that whole population for these dudes that was just bucking. I think it only had like a certain institutions. So if you was on long term where you were just refusing and you had been back there for some time, like years or something, and they know you just was not going to relent and cut your hair, then you could request to be transferred to the institution that had that population for those people. But the ones who did not have that, in the institutions that did not have that, those dudes was in segregation, man. You know, one cell, one man, making a stand. And that right there is admirable, man. It's noble, because it's what they believed in. Whether it was religion, whether it was just their personal belief, because this is your personal vessel and you determine what happens to that. You know, just like a dude protecting himself in prison, you know, he has to, because this is all he have left. You cannot let somebody else dictate what you do with this. You know, so yeah, but it was wicked, man, and it was wicked for a while, man. And they fought that fight, man. They rumbled that good fight, man, and they ended up winning that situation, man. And I can't remember what year it was won, but it was won. And then when you dealing with the administration, they're not gonna relent easily, man. And you dealing with the state, they're not gonna relent easily, because if they do something, they do make a mistake, they're gonna fight tooth and nail to make it seem like they was right. Because if it's proven that they was wrong, then you open up the door for lawsuits because of the mistreatment. You see what I'm saying? And that's what ended up happening. You know, it was proven to be unconstitutional, cruel, and unusual punishment, whatever the case may be. And now these dudes had a class action lawsuit against them for all the time that they served in SAG, for the mistreatment, for the unfairness. So they, a class action lawsuit with that. I never knew what the end result was. If there has been an end result already, I don't know. But it's crazy, man. It was just a crazy, crazy situation, man, that really, really got out of hand and really lasted longer than it should have lasted. Yeah, it lasted longer than it should have, man. And after the lawsuit, after the Supreme Court ruling came about, them dudes deserve some compensation. They deserve it. You talking about dudes that spent decades and years in segregation for something that the Supreme Court already deemed it was unconstitutional. It was cruel and unusual. So they deserve some type. What do you get for that? What do you get for that, man? They done took years off your life and punished you for something that they should not have been punishing you for. You know what I'm saying? So they was in the right all the time, and that's all that proves that they was in the right all the time. But they stood for that, man. They stood for that. And a lot of dudes submitted. A lot of dudes cut their hair. A lot of dudes shaved their face because they didn't want to go through that. Those dudes should be, commended for going through that, because that was their fight. That's what they had to do. And that's what they did, and I commend them for that, man. I really do. I commend it for them, man, because dudes will do everything in the world on population to duck that SAG, boy. And for these dudes to go to SAG voluntarily because they're going to stand on all 10 toes, yeah, that should be commended, man. It should be commended. But it was a wicked time, man. It's just another part of the system. It's another part of the things that you have to go through while you're incarcerated. It's rough, man. It's a rough ride, man. It really is. It's a rough ride when you have to be in there and micromanage all these things that's coming at you and deal with all of this suppression and oppression and depression. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy, man. But those dudes stood tall, man. They stood tall. And and it's a double-edged sword, because all the dudes that was over there hiding, now you gotta come out. Now you gotta come out, and the wolves is ready to like a pack of hyenas. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. But that's what it was. That was a crazy time, man. So, I'm glad, and a salute to all them dudes, man. I hope they get their compensation. I hope they get their just due, and I hope all of them is out of the system now, man. But shout out to all them brothers who stood tall, man, and what they believe in. And they didn't break, they didn't bend, they didn't fold. They stood, and they didn't know what the outcome was going to be. They just believed, and they stood firm in their principles. And you got to respect that. So salute to them. Anyway, man, that's just another one in the books. Boom. Got a lot more coming at you, man. Y'all stay tuned. Y'all stay focused. Y'all stay locked in. We on a mission, man. 2023, we ain't playing no games. We getting ready to put this Banky Pound out here to the world. TBP Nation. It ain't me, it's us. It's us. We got to go places, man. We got to do things. We got to spread this positive energy, this positive message out here to the world. And we ready to go. And I'm locked in. I hope y'all locked in with me. Y'all go support me on all my other platforms, man. Banky Pound, Prison Fitness, man. I'm getting ready to get back right. Yeah, I ain't playing no games now. I'm getting ready to get back right. Living Life After Life podcast with Troy Ketchmo. Bomb interviews coming. We out here, man. We doing our thing, man. And go back and love me, man. Go back and love me. On Pure Deliciousness. I want to cook. I want to whip it up. I want to whip it up. So y'all lock in with me, man. Lock in with me, man. Let's take this ride together, man. You know, if I take the ride by myself, it's like being in SEG. I don't want to be in SEG, man. I don't want to. I did enough SEG time already. So y'all lock in with me, man. Ride with me, man. Hit me in the comments. Let me know how you feel. Talk to me. Y'all know I talk back. We out here, man. It's a blessing in every lesson. And the blessing is, man, that those brothers stood tall, man. They did not break. They did not fold. They did not bend. And they got what they were supposed to get. They got satisfaction, man, and knowing that they was right. And, you know, they was released from that bondage that they was in. And hopefully they get compensated for that bondage that they was in. And the blessing is, man, that when you stand on your principles, man, whatever it is that you believe in, you personally believe in, you are never wrong. You are never wrong when you stand on your principles, man, and you do not bend that for nobody. There's certain things that you will and will not do, and whatever comes, you have to stand firm in that. That's what makes you a man. You know, not your age, not your gender, not your aggressiveness. That's what makes you a man. Standing on your principles, man, for what you believe in. So salute to those cats, man. Salute to TBP for locking in with me and holding me down. I love y'all. Y'all be safe, be smart, make good decisions. Y'all stay safe out there. And by all means, man, duck them hooks. Sometimes them hooks come after the uppercut. Boom, boom. Did you see that? Boom, boom. Boom, boom. I did it 3 times. You should have seen that. You should have caught that. You should have ducked that. Duck them hooks, man, because they out there. Bam!
The Banky special.
Yeah.
Pure deliciousness.
Pure deliciousness, man.
My name is Banky, man. Everybody calls me Banky. That's the name that I got from my grandmother when I was young.
I'm coming out here after 30 years. Yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts.